Today, I'm going to show you how to play 4 toolbox bass lines in the Latin rock style, very similar to Carlos Santana, and give you a completely free PDF so you can see everything written out in standard notation and tab. Put the link in the description below. Let's crack on. Hey guys, it's James here from eBass Guitar, and can you believe it? This is the first lesson of the second volume of our Toolbox Bass Lines. The first volume has been such a success, we've made it into a whole course in itself over at ebassguitar.com. So make sure you head over to there and check out the Bass Lab Plus. Today, we are going to be looking at the magic of Carlos Santana and the Latin rock movement. So today's lesson was first released way back in 2017 in a YouTube lesson called How to Play Black Magic Woman. So if you haven't already seen that, make sure you jump back and have a look at that. I'll put a link in the description below. But today, I'm going to take you through 4 toolbox bass lines you can play over the Black Magic Woman chord sequence. Let's crack on. Just before we get going, I've got a super quick favor to ask. If you enjoy this video and you watch it all the way through to the end and think, I'd love more of that, I've just got one simple request for you. If you haven't already done it, please can you hit the red subscribe button, which is somewhere around this video. And my promise to you is if you do that, I will work tirelessly to make the eBass Guitar YouTube channel as great as I possibly can and put more free bass educational content out like this. So please do hit the red subscribe button, which is somewhere around this video. So for bass line number 1, we're going to go from easy to hard, and it is simply the original bass line, which is this, which is a 1-bar bass line, which is simply based upon the root, going to the 5th, the flat and 7th, and the octave. So those notes in the key of D minor are simply a D. Then we jump up to the A, halfway through the second beat, 2 Cs, then D, C at the end. Then we're going to put it across the whole of the 12-bar chord sequence. So we're going to have 2 bars of D, then we're going to drop down a string to A minor, back to 2 bars of D minor, to 2 bars of G minor, to a bar of D minor, bar of A minor, and then a bar of D minor, and then on bar 12 we just do a simple short stop break by playing the root note. So that is the original bass line and the original chord sequence. If you want to go into more depth on that, make sure you check out the original lesson, which I'll put a link to in the description below. So this is what it sounds like with the backing track. Remember, everything we're covering today is written out in a free PDF. I'll put the link in the description below where you can grab your free copy. So let's move on to Toolbox Bass Line number 2. In bass line number 1, we were rising up from the root. And that is the shape of the bass line. Now in this one, we want to do a bass line which sits underneath the root note. It sounds like this. Great if you want to add a little bit more weight to your bass line. So what we're going to do here is we're going to start on the D, then we're going to drop down to the A below, then hit 2 Cs. So that is exactly the same as the first bass line. dropping the second and third notes down the octave, which gives it a different flavour. Then to finish it off, we're going to go, which are 2/16 notes on the fourth beat, which is a G and a G sharp, and then an A halfway through the fourth beat. So we end up with this pattern. And then we just move it to a different set of root notes. So what we're going to do is going to do 2 bars of D, then go to the A, which is sat at the 7th fret on the D string, and back to the D, then to the G, which is sat at the 5th fret on the D string, then to the D, back to the A, to the D. And remember the stop, which is on beat 1 of the 12th bar of the chord sequence. Here's what it sounds like with the backing track. Toolbox Bassline number 3. And we're going to add what's called a double time feel over the top of this. And this creates a bass line which is very, very similar to a samba-style bass line that you can play. It's a 1-bar bass line again, and it sounds like this. So let's take that apart. So what we're going to do is we're going to start on the D, and then we're going to play the A. So we're playing a 16th note just before the second beat, and then a note directly on the second beat. So it's bom, ba, ba, like that. Then the same thing again to get the third beat. Bom, ba, bum. So we're anticipating the main beats of the bar by playing a 16th note before, and then we come back to the A to do the same thing. Like so, and then we just add an 8th note, the octave, on beat 4 and. So we end up with this bass line. And then faster. And then you can put that across the whole of the sequence. And what you'll find is this adds a ton of energy. Typically when you play this too, the drummer will also modify his or her pattern to suit that. And it's a great way of adding a ton of energy into your bass line. So here is what it sounds like with the backing track. Guys, we are nearly at the end of this this video. We've got one more Toolbox bassline, but I've got that quick favor to ask again. If you're enjoying this and you're not already subscribed to the E-Bass Guitar YouTube channel, please can you hit that red subscribe button? And I'll work tirelessly in return to keep creating content like this to help put free bass educational ideas out in the world, and so everybody can learn this great instrument. So please hit that red subscribe button, which is somewhere around this video. So for bassline number 4, we are really going to up the gas, and I'm going to introduce a bassline which is inspired by the great Jaco Pastorius and something he used to do a lot in his lines. So let me play it to you to begin with. So that is a 1-bar bass line, and it has a beautiful chromatic note in there and a ton of 16ths. So this is what it sounds like slowly. So really it's that which comes from the Jaco line that you'll hear him use a lot in those samba Latin feels that he used to play. So let's take this apart. So we start off with a note on beat 1, then just before the end of the first beat we play another beat, and then we play 4 16th notes on beat 2, or during beat 2 rather, which is... So those notes in the key of D are a G sharp, hammer onto an A, C, A, then we hit the D octave for 1 beat on beat 3, and then on beat 4 we go 4 16ths again. So we simply play D, C, A, G, root, flattened 7th, 5th, 4th. So slowly the bass line is. Up to speed. What I find with both Toolbox Bassline number 3 and number 4 is if you play it with a light touch, it can really start to help the bass line bounce and have a little bit of life and dance a little bit. So let's wrap up and play this along with the backing track so you can hear it in action. Guys, that's the end of today's video. First of all, grab that free PDF so you can see everything written out. But if you've enjoyed it, head over to ebassguitar.com, check out the Bass Lab Plus, because the whole of Volume 1, which is 12 lessons of Toolbox Bass Lines, are now published over there, where you can download them with the complete PDF so you can see everything written out, plus all of the backing tracks and the video lessons. And that course is available inside the Bass Lab Plus membership. So I'm going to put a link in the description below so you can take it free for a test drive, 14 days. I will catch you soon, guys. See you next week.